Welcome to the Life Self-Mastery Podcast, where we bring in entrepreneurs who have created online businesses and improved their lifestyles. Here's your host, Rohit Malhotra.
Hi everyone, this is Rohit from Life Mastery, and today I'm excited to have Mradul Khandelwal, who has a track record of more than 10 years of ensuring customer success, building sustainable businesses, and setting up business development and sales processes, and driving effectiveness and simplicity in building winning teams. He has played a significant role in LogiNext growth story and establishing the brand across the world. Mradul is an alumni of HEC Paris, where he's done his MBA. Welcome to the show, Mradul.
Hey, thank you, Rohit. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here and to do this podcast with you.
Awesome. So how did you get into LogiNext, and what was your story behind that?
That's actually an interesting one. I never planned to join a company when this happened. So after my MBA, I started my career, and I'll take a couple of steps back. That's pretty crucial.
Absolutely.
So, I started my career with the financial industry, BFSI sector. I was a commerce graduate, did my MBA and master's in marketing. And I started with BFSI and helped a company, got into more in the product side, and helped one of the major BFSI company to build a product which scaled quite quickly and started generating revenue of around 100 million in a couple of years' time. So that's where I got a taste of how a product can scale faster. Right, versus services, and that's where I was pretty involved. But I was in BFSI, so luck by chance, I ended up in through another connect. Somebody reached out to me, wanted me to get involved with, help them setting up the company in India, and that was more of an SAP shop. I got involved with them, helped them, and then my marketing, my Marwadi genes, and I'm from Rajasthan. I'm a Marwadi, so those genes started actually. Started pushing me towards, hey, I want to do something. I want to work in a setup where I can actually build something from scratch rather than working in a corporate.
Right.
And that's where I decided, hey, that's the way to go. I don't want to work in a corporate. Either I want to have my own business, I want to run my own, be an entrepreneur, or help somebody to build a business, a sustainable business. And I found that that's my skill set as well. And that's where I helped a couple of companies before LogiNext to build a revenue of around 0 to 10 million in a couple of years' time. And then that was the time when Dhruv and Manisha were actually moving back to India to set a LogiNext in India and to start the business, start their journey. And a common connect actually introduced us, saying that, hey guys, why don't you connect? See, MK or Mradul is actually planning to start something of his own, but he probably can help you with the sales processes and setting up the whole sales business because you both are coming from consultancy background and he can be a good help. That's where we got involved. The first time I met Dhruv and Manisha, we would plan to speak for around actually 45 minutes, and then that discussion ended in 5.5 hours. So where I really found that, hey, the passion they have about the idea, the whole discussion, and the understanding they had about the industry, and the understanding they have of the problem statement, I knew that this is something which I want to get involved in. It's something which has the potential to go, and the people know what they're doing and know where they want to go. So that was the time when I started engaging with them, and we started while we were setting up things, and then came on board and sometime in early 2015 to set up the sales time. That was the time we as an organization also closed our series, seed funding round with top angels in India. And that was the time we were like, okay, now we have a product, a prototype, which is being established. We have got a couple of customers on board. And how do we scale from here? And that's where the question, and that's the question I had an answer for, and that's where I thought, like, okay, there's something which I know and I can do it. Let's get involved. Let's do it. And since then, the journey has been actually amazing. It's been full of a roller coaster ride with lots of ups and obviously many downs. But we have been growing 3x year on year, and recently we we recently actually closed a significant milestone in terms of revenue. At the same time, closed our Series B, which is a testament of our what the work which we are doing as an organization.
Right, amazing. So for listeners, what does LogiNext? What are the sort of products you are offering, and what are the sort of industries that you're catering to?
Perfect. So, as an organization, when we started, the idea was only three things. We knew that we wanted to optimize anything which is moving, and that's the goal behind as an organization, that we want to optimize anything which is moving. With that thought process, we started building our products, and today we are very proud to say we are the world's first transport automation platform. So, when I say transport automation platform, a lot of people say, "Hey, what's that?" So you have heard of a lot of TMSs, right? And those
Right.
have been there in the world for like good 15, 20 years. There are Oracle, there are SAP Transport Manager, there are hundreds of them, right? Small, big, medium-sized companies. And then there are specialized companies which came in last 5 years, which are either focusing on a single problem statement of logistics, right? It could be a last mile problem, it could be a first mile problem, it could be probably just the middle mile part or just the visibility aspect.
Right.
We knew that it cannot work, and we always knew that we are a B2B company, we are an enterprise platform, and that's how we want to grow. So we always knew that having a single piece or an isolated building a product which works in silo is not our strategy. We need a platform. We don't need a product. And that's where we built the whole transport automation platform, which starts from the booking to and help our customers to the last mile or end delivery. So we focus on enabling visibility across all the stakeholders from the time, let's say, let me give you an example, right? If you go on UPS today, right, in
Right.
North America, and uh, if you go on their portal, the portal may be running on a LogiNext engine from behind. Order, when you order shipment, LogiNext system actually does the whole booking platform. Then from there, this order goes to the LogiNext platform, which defines that, hey, who this should go, which partner should actually deliver it. If you are doing it through a third-party vendor, or if you're doing a freelance or an individual through a independent contractor, or if you're doing it through your uh, own fleet,
Right.
who it should go, which hub it should be going to, and then when it reaches there, how it should be delivered to the end customer. What are the SLAs, right? Now, as human, everybody, and this is something this problem has been there for ages, like traveling salesman problem. You and
Right.
I have heard about it, and mathematicians and the people have been trying to solve it, and there is no right or wrong answer there. And when you and I come out of when I have to go out and I need to say, hey, I need to go to these 4 locations, easy for me to know that, hey, I can probably better to start from this A and then complete B, then B and C and come back, because that's the most optimal route for me to do it. But when you scale it out to multiply this 1 to 1,000 and then scale that 5 location to another 1,000. So if it becomes 50,000, 500,000, 5 million shipment, it's
Right.
just not possible human, right? So once we have got those shipments, that we got those orders, how we actually enable the optimization, how we bring efficiency in the business. And most of the logistics business, most of the CEP business runs on a paper thin margin, wafer thin margin, where they are always trying to save a penny, save a dollar wherever they can to increase their margins and to improve their bottom line. And
Right.
that's where, like, okay, guys, there is so much inefficiency which is there in the system, which is there in this whole model, which has been run for ages by CEP companies, by for that matter by FMCG companies, by CPG companies who are doing deliveries, who are delivering to the last customer or for large 3PLs. So we bring optimization. We have our own proprietary algorithms that have optimized those movements for them. It could be first mile, it could be last mile, it could be middle mile, or it could be all together from pickup. Then it could be multi-model, wherein think of it like you place an order from here, uh, and the product has to come from China, let's say, okay.
Right.
And LogiNext platform would be able to place an order. It will be able to give the visibility that a product has left from China in a ship, it's reached to Singapore, let's say, in a ship, if the ETA was this, that's the ETA you will receive on this date at this time between 7 to 9 p.m. Then now it is in a flight to Mumbai. It has landed in Mumbai. From Mumbai now it has gone to a Bhiwandi hub. From Mumbai it's gone to one of the, which is Bhiwandi is one of the key warehousing place, right, in India. Then from there it has come to a regional hub or a local hub, and now it's on the way. A delivery person named X is bringing it to your house, right?
Right.
So enabling not only that visibility end to end, optimizing that. So that's the second layer of the whole platform. And then the last but not the least, and one of the most important layer in our eyes is analytics, right? So how do we analyze this information? How do we analyze this data in a way that it actually adds more value for customers? That you can take long-term decisions. You can decide, how do I plan? How many resources should I have? How this analytics could be enabled while our algorithms have machine learning and lot of automation which we do under artificial intelligence, how these analytics can actually consume that information and do more predictive and prescriptive analytics rather than just being a state or data in Excel or data in a graph format, right? How can this be more predictive, which can tell the customer that this is how you should be planning it? And that's the kind of analytics we focus on, providing more real-time analytics. And these are the three key, I could say, three layers or the pillars of the platform on which the platform has been built.
Right, and is it correct to say that the last mile delivery solution product that you've created gets the most number of revenue for you, or can just talk about what are the sort of products you have? And
no, you can. So that's a correct statement. So I would say mile. So we call it mile. Mile actually is not just last mile; it could be first mile, middle mile, or the last mile as well.
Sure.
So, and the mile is the key platform which is there, and which has the most number of transactions. So we do approximately around 10 million shipments a day on our platform right now, and mile would be around 90% of it.
Oh wow, correct. And what is sort of customers and industries that you're catering to, which are which add the most revenue to your pipeline?
Interesting question, and actually, this is one of my favorite, because every time we have new salesperson joining, this is something that we tell them the first that these are the industries. Don't look right, don't look left. These are the 4 industries we focus on, and this is what we need to do. So we are pretty focused when it comes to industries we want to work on. It's CEP, which is the core of a movement, right? Courier Express Parcel companies, then 3PL and the transportation. Then CPG and which is CPG and FMCG companies, and the last is e-commerce. These are the 4 industries we focus on, and out of which, if I have to break it down for you, CP would actually be around CP and CP 3PL would or the CP and transportation would be around 50% for us, and e-commerce would be around 10 or 15%, and another 35% would be CPG and FMCG companies and distribution companies.
Right. So, I wanted to understand, when you look at enterprise sales, what is your funnel like, and how do you how doesn't B2B enterprise sales guys who wants to make a career in enterprise sales looks at building his own funnel and making sure that he's able to get the desired results, and ultimately what are the sort of sales cycle when it comes to a B2B enterprise SaaS company like yours?
Good. Again, these are interesting questions, because that's something which is core of what we do, right? And when it comes to the sales cycle, when it comes to the core of when we want to start, and if somebody wants to build a career in enterprise sales, I believe the one of the most important factor, right, is to be focused. Okay. And I'll go into details. So there are obviously, if you'll go on Google, you'll find hundreds of processes which you can follow, and there are a lot of repetitive information. But one of the key things which as an enterprise salesperson needs to do is to focus. And it's importantly a SaaS enterprise platform person, because when you are in SaaS, a lot of companies and you may have a lot of noise around you. When I say noise, it could be a lot of SMB deals coming in, uh, lot of startups businesses which are probably are trying to adopt to your platform. And if you are an enterprise sales platform, you need to ensure that, hey, what revenue we need to achieve, what kind of uh, let's say average ACV which I'm looking at, what kind of LC which I need to get from a customer to my customer success, and which industries I need to focus. So the start is to know who to sell. Okay. And when you know who to sell, so, or rather who and what goes together. So if I'm starting a career in LogiNext, and let me give you an example like that. If somebody wants to start a career in LogiNext, the first thing they need to do what they're selling. Right. That's the first thing. That's the very first thing. They need to know what they're selling, and they should know it and why they are selling it. Right? If you don't know your product as an enterprise salesperson, you would never be able to convince your customer why it can create value for you. You should be able to, know why it is created. So know what you're selling, why you're selling, and then who you're selling it to.
Correct.
You should have a very focused approach who to sell to, right? And ensuring that at the initial stage, because it's easy to build a pipeline, but it's difficult to build a good pipeline.
Okay.
And when I say a good pipeline, means knowing the pipeline. There are two kinds of sales guys you would see. One who has a 50 leads in their pipeline with a 5% or a 10% kind of closure ratio, or a 5, and another which is a 20, but with a 25% closure ratio. Right. I always believe it's better to have 20 with 25% closure ratio rather than having 50, because in enterprise sales, that's what matters, because every customer requires, it's a complex sales process. Every customer is different. Every customer have multiple stakeholders you've got to map to. So once you understand this process, once you know who, what, why, right, then you need to know what are the, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I just saw that my connection was unstable. So, okay. Once you understand that, then another important point is that identifying the requirement, identifying the needs. So if how do you qualify them on? There could be different models, right? And the oldest model is being there, right? Which allows you to know, hey, what are the four budget, authority, need, timelines? They all just fit into your goal. Once we have that, then once you have finalized that aspect, understood that, then identifying who you are selling it to in terms of stakeholders. And that's somewhere I believe a lot of enterprise sales guys do make a mistake, is they're not mapping an organization well. And that's is the key. So how do you ensure that you map the enterprise, map the organization well, map the stakeholders of an organization well, know who would be taking a decision, who would be an influencer, who would be a champion for you, who probably would be a guide, or who would be who could be a detractor, who could be a promoter, and so on and so forth. So once you map the organization well as an enterprise sale, then it becomes a smooth ride in terms of being able to prove the value of the product and move into the legal aspects and the agreement and everything. So if somebody wants to make a career in enterprise sales,
right,
you need to make sure that they do initial 5 things which we talked about very well. Because the battle is won 50% at the qualification only. They're able to qualify and map the stakeholders, you've won the 50% battle. Because then the product also speaks a lot volume about, and a good product always helps, right? And that definitely has been a great thing for us because our platform has been doing an amazing thing and creating amazing value for our customers, and that's definitely helped us and our sales team to be able to generate good revenue. So once you understand why, who, and what, and understand the stakeholders, then it's more on right follow-ups, right demos, and also, yeah, that's how I put it.
Correct. And what is the sort of sales cycle you have in LogiNext? How much time does it take for you to close on a customer?
We actually have, and that's pretty different than usually you'll find in Robert. We actually have a sales cycle of 2.5 months, or rather 10 weeks to 24 weeks.
Oh,
And it's a long range, but we usually have most of our customers between 10 to 16, except some which may get to go to 24. But 10 to 16 is what our sales cycle is.
correct. And who are your customers, and how your employees and locations spread across?
So we as an organization, pretty early in our journey, we knew that which our markets are, right?
Okay.
And we have done one thing which is we've done wonderfully well, and we are pretty proud of as an organization, is opening up a new market and establishing ourselves in that market, which I believe is difficult. So
Correct.
going to a new country, scaling in the new country, building revenue from the scratch and building a sustainable revenue is definitely difficult, and which we've done pretty well. So for us, our key markets are North America, SEA, and Middle East.
Okay.
And our teams are also accordingly spread across. We've got a decent sized team in North American market. We've got a team in Singapore and Malaysia, then and spread across in different countries in SEA. We've got a team in Dubai. So that's how our most of the sales and support team is. And most of our development team and the tech team sits out of our Mumbai office, which is where it centralized, and that's led by Manisha, who's the CEO.
Right. And Mradul, do you think enterprise sales guy, since you based out of three different areas, different areas across different regions, does an enterprise sales guy needs to be physically present, or do you think, suppose you have a main head office in Mumbai, then that enterprise sales head can travel across these regions?
So I have two answers to that.
Okay.
One is before COVID, and another is after COVID.
Correct. Right.
That has changed a lot in terms of what we are seeing. So if you'll ask me, I think it can be managed. It to a certain extent, to a certain value of deal, can definitely be done from a remote office as well. You don't not necessarily need to be in front of the customer today. As an organization, we are maturing. Customers also have matured to a great extent. Their understanding of the market, their understanding of their needs, their understanding of the products which are there available has matured, and that reflects in the conversation you have with the customer. And that allows you to actually do it offline as well. For that matter, for first 2 years of our international sales, we ran everything, and we built our first 2 million of ARR international or business completely not being in the locations, offline, on just on the remote, being remote, and just traveling and doing it. And that's how we built it.
Correct. And interesting, you talked about COVID. How's the COVID experience? Has it really affected LogiNext, especially in Southeast Asian market?
It's actually been a positive impact for us as an organization. In last couple of months, we onboarded a huge number of customers, actually, more than 35 plus customers of different size, where some of the customers we are primarily helping to pivot. But a lot of our existing customers also has seen a surge in their volume in the home delivery business. So we are seeing our existing customers operating at a 2x or 3x volume, which they were doing before. And we are seeing a lot of new companies moving towards home delivery. A lot of existing businesses pivoting to home delivery of essentials, for that matter, to be able to sustain as well. And that's good for LogiNext as an organization, because yes, we can enable them quickly, and we are able to help those customers quickly move. So a lot of these enterprise, we have seen a lot of these enterprise who's probably had a digital transformation plans, which were a 2-year plan, turning into a 2-month plan now. And transforming the businesses, be those verticals of business which require digital transformation faster to be able to sustain in the market, to be able to survive and grow. And that's been a positive impact. And as in for Southeast Asia market also, most of the companies, we have been, and to be very frank, we actually worked quite, we realized this whole thing pretty early. Being in the market definitely helped us. So we were seeing that the impact which was happening, the changes which were happening in China, and we got involved with our customers pretty early to set them, hey, how, if this spread further, how are you planning to manage it? Right? And we got involved in their business continuity plans. We got involved in helping them pivot to different business model. We got involved with identifying new revenue verticals for them or revenue initiatives for them, which our system could enable for them, and helped multiple of our customers in different regions identify new revenue streams. So few of our customers actually seen increase in revenue, and not just the typical companies whose home delivery business is increasing, but the companies who didn't have a home delivery business, we have seen increase in revenue by opening new revenue streams with them and launching the whole contactless delivery. So we actually launched the whole contactless delivery piece in mid-Jan itself, where we identify, hey, the customer would become more conscious about stepping out of their houses if this spreads. And that was, we're seeing the signs in, obviously in Southeast Asia region, pretty early sign, but we were seeing some mindset change and behavioral change in people, that where people wanted their things to be delivered to their, not to their doorstep, or not to be picked up, take it in their hands, deliver home delivery further instead of going to the store and picking up the grocery. So we said, hey, why can we make it a contactless deliveries? And we worked and built on that, where you can have a door-to-door delivery, you can have a doorstep delivery, you can have ETAs which are giving you a real-time location of the driver, so you can be prepared and go down and take it. Sharing and most importantly, helping drivers, because they are the users. We have got thousands of drivers using our application, and we want to make sure their safety also is important, and we are doing something about that. So we work with companies to we launched routes which were COVID or primarily red alert routes, right? The routes which are the area which are COVID contaminated or red zones, we ensure that those are not being taken, and the navigation and the routes are, those areas are avoided, though it may result in a little longer distance, but the safety of the driver was something which is very important. We introduced sanitization breaks, right? So how do we ensure that driver knows that, hey, now they need to take a break to be able to, they should take a break and sanitize their hands, sanitize. So we focus on consumers who's receiving it, we focus on the driver, and obviously the businesses we work with to help they can pivot and grow their business and open new revenue streams. Thus, but overall, for as an organization, we have had a good quarter, because the COVID impact has been mainly positive for us.
Right, that's interesting that the COVID has really helped LogiNext, and I wanted to go back to setting up since they're in different markets. What advice would you give to founders or business development heads when they want to set up their own BD teams in new markets? Because LogiNext has been successful in doing that. Or what advice would you give when you want to enter a new market?
I think that one of the key thing is, whenever you're entering a new market, to identify a person from your existing team who has sold and proved himself in an existing market, to go and set up that market first. Starting a new market with a new person is never a good idea.
Okay.
You can't have two variables working together. So you need one thing which is you're sure about. This person caliber, this person is good. Then that's the person you should be giving ownership. So you should always find a person who has already done it for you, maybe in an existing market where you are, and then understanding the cultural aspects is very important. So I'll give you an example. We've got customers in Japan, we've got customers in Indonesia, Taiwan, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia. Every culture is different.
Right.
Every culture is different, and these are the countries they speak. English is not their first language. So how do you ensure that the communication gap is not there? How do you ensure you understand those cultural aspects and are able to respect their culture while you're growing it, while you're doing it? So identifying those cultural differences, knowing them, and respecting their culture while you're selling it to them. But that's another important aspect. And then do not, and that's our personal opinion. A lot of companies go all board. They just want to set up the office first and then start it. We always believe that do not start by setting things up and then selling into once you have the people there. You should start selling from the market you are in. Let there be a start visiting it, start building pipeline from the market you are in. To build pipeline, you don't have to be in the market, right? So anything to set up a market, the first thing is to have a pipeline. That's the first line, right? And to build a pipeline, you don't have to be in the market. You can build a pipeline from the location you are in. So the first thing is to build a pipeline by being there where you are. Start by traveling and closing some deals. Every market works as an independent market. Once you get your first customer, things are easy. Once you have a referenceable customer, it's much easier to sell in any market. So focus on getting your first customer. Identify the key deals key companies you want to focus on. Generate deals, create those pipeline. Start traveling to the market to understand the market. Start spending time in the market. Maybe you do not have meetings, but start spending some time in the market. Maybe spend 50% of the time in that market initially. And you should have a strategy around 3 months, 6 months. And usually what worked for us is we could move our people in 6 months. We could got our first few customers, 2 or 3 customers in first 6 months in every market where we entered, and then move people there in the market. So day 0 was to build pipeline, start traveling, close customers within 90 to 150 days, and then have a person then being there, stationed there after 180 days. And that's how we went about it. And that's been pretty successful for us.
Correct. And what do you think is, in your view, the secret of customer success? Because you would want to control churn, especially in a SaaS company, and it's not easy for a B2B client to switch companies, but you would want not the churn not to happen. So any thoughts on how to what is the best secrets of customer success?
See, the core business and core pieces of and absolutely. So one thing which I am absolutely in line on, the whole customer success important. As a SaaS business or a SaaS platform, we absolutely believe customer success being the most. The whole multiplication we talk about when it comes to SaaS comes with no churn or less churn. And we have done a great job there, and rather the team has done a great job there. Right. And one of the things which is important is to be able to understand the core business driver of your customers. What is why they're buying your solution for. So ensure that your customer success team understand that aspects, and then build processes on that. So we have been though we are obviously a growing company. We are not Oracle. We are not IBM. But when it comes to processes, we are very proud of the fact how we have done. We have built very strong processes around customer success, around other aspects of business, right? And then when I say customer success, onboarding is what it is. Where you win and probably be able to ensure that this customer stays for longer. The first, how do you onboard your customers? It shouldn't be a complex onboarding, right? Yeah. How smoothly are you able to onboard your customer? How well the BD to CAM or BD to customer success handover is. Nobody wants to spend 3 months in a sales cycle telling everything to the sales guy that what their problems are and everything. And then a new guy comes on day 90 when they sign the contract and say, can you tell me about your problem statement? Right? If you're doing that, you're making a mistake on the day one, because customer is frustrating. It's frustrating for any customer, right? And you need to be able to ensure that there's a smooth BD to CAM or BD to customer success handover, which you have within your organization. Build that process. That's very important. Build it now. Don't wait for later. Right? Build that process where everything which you're the sales learned in the sales process is known. So when your customer success person goes in the team, goes there, he doesn't start from zero, right? And that gives customer a confidence that, hey, I'm dealing with the right people. They know my business, they know my problem, they are here for that. Secondly, what we found, we always, being an enterprise platform, for us, the whole stickiness around the platform was very important. How do we create that stickiness? And identifying what your customers, and rather than being a reactive approach. And a lot of companies where I have seen what approach they have towards customer success, towards their enterprise customer also, is more reactive. What I mean by a reactive approach is most of the customer success team convert into a customer support team.
Right.
And it's where customer ask a problem, raise a problem, and then they answer a problem. That's not how customer success happens. Customer success means you are a partner of customer success. You are a partner to your key role is to be able to proactively identify what your customer will need. So knowing your customer need, reviewing your customer data, identifying what are the things your customer is using, where your customers might require, or your different stakeholders will require, or customer stakeholder will require, and identifying those and providing that information in details, helping customer identify those, is the role of customer success. And then let that customer use the platform. So I think onboarding plays an important role, because that's where you identify these things, and then you start going in a more proactive manner towards your customer. Doing one thing which we do NPS almost every month, right? Actually, we are very, very sensitive about customer NPS. We go into detail of every customer NPS. We always believe that, hey, if a customer says 8, why it's 8, why it's out of 10, why it's not 9, why it's not 10. So we want to make sure that every customer is giving them. So do those customer NPS. Ensure that you proactively actually reach out to your customers to know what they are liking, what they're not liking. Their silence, there's another point which, so there's a lot of time, if there's no noise, you do not focus on that customer. And the customer who makes a lot of noise becomes the core focus customer for companies. So
right.
Focus on everybody. Do those NPS periodically. Understand where your customer is, how they are doing it. So that's another piece. I then have a strategic thinking, right? When it comes to hiring the customer success team, right, or having the right people, ensure that they have the good product knowledge, good domain knowledge. The customer success person should be able to have good strategic thinking. They should have good relationship skills. A customer success person should also be able to have good project orientation, project skills also, because there is a requirements coming from the customer to be able to identify how those can be implemented for the customer, right? And the task orientation. I believe these are the 6 things which are really important for a customer success manager to have, and having these skills set really makes somebody a superstar customer success manager, to be able to ensure their customers are happy, and you as an organization see a very low churn.
Right. And when you talk about, doing this NPS service, does the enterprise sales guys do it themselves, or do you, have your own customer success teams reaching out to the customers every month or every quarter for NPS service?
We actually have a separate team who just does NPS. We have a couple of folks whose responsibility is primarily, and the more of analysts. We have got business analysts primarily focusing on NPS. As I said, for us, we are very, very finicky when it comes to customer NPS, churn. we have dedicated people ensuring that they are reaching out to customers, talking to the customers month on month basis and taking a feedback. We don't ask our customer success team to do it because we want to make sure the customer is comfortable in giving a bad feedback also. Because it's not always getting the good feedback, and if the relationship is good, you should know what the bad feedback is as well, because that's what helps you improve. So we have a separate team who does that for us.
Got it. Mradul, I quickly want to do the top three. What's your favorite business book?
I think one of the book which I really like, and I probably have read it a couple of times, is been this one here. It's a Good to Great by Jim Collins, right? And that book I really believe I at least found it one of the best management related business books, right, I've ever read. And it has good fascinating case studies which allows you to understand the concept better and help you about how the great companies that shake up entire industry and how they have done. So it's a good book, and which I would recommend if I have to.
Correct. And if you could go back in time when you started working for LogiNext, what is the one thing you would have focused on or done anything differently?
To be honest, I won't say that I would have done anything differently. Yes, in retrospect, when I see, I probably will feel, hey, this could have been done differently. This could have been done, and there could be long list which I can create. But I believe the journey, what we could achieve, was because of those mistakes which we made, because those were the learning which helped us reach there. So if I have to, I wouldn't want to change anything, because what we did has got us here. So I wouldn't say that I would change that.
Got it. And do you have any favorite online tools, example, Gmail, Slack, Zoom?
I actually, for me, HubSpot is something which I really like. It's one of the best CRMs available in the market today. And that's my favorite online tool.
Got it. We'll put that in the show notes. So what is the best way people can reach out to you and get to know more about LogiNext?
Hey, I'm obviously on the social media. So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active. So if people drop me a message on LinkedIn, usually I'm pretty responsive. They'll get a response quickly. And then they can always, if there is something related to LogiNext and they want to connect, they can always drop me a note on my email ID, on official ID. But LinkedIn is a good way. I'm pretty open. I'm well connected, so they can always drop me.
Got it. We'll put that in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming onto the show and speaking to us. I really enjoyed speaking to you.
Hey, thanks a lot, Rohit. It was a pleasure speaking to you. I hope it helps the viewers and your audience. Hey, thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to the Life Self-Mastery podcast, where we teach you how to start and grow your online business. For more information, visit Rohit's blog at www.lifeselfmastery.com.